Hi, and welcome to this flipped instructional session. I am Mrs. Fessel, and this is Earth Science, Semester A, and this is the Unit 1 review. A reminder about flipped lessons. Your goal is to watch this recording before the Class Connect session, and then look for the flipped follow-up on your schedule. So today we're going to be reviewing some of the major concepts from Unit 1, and then if you come to the flipped follow-up, we're going to play a bunch of games and do some other fun activities to review for the Unit 1 test. So here we go with our Unit 1 review. So the first thing you want to make sure you know for this unit test is the different spheres of the Earth. So we're going to go through the 5 different spheres and highlight the main points about them. So first we have the biosphere. Bio means life, like a biology class. So the biosphere tells us that it is all living things. That includes everything from plants and animals, all the way down to tiny bacteria, mushrooms, fungi, and us, because we are living, so we're part of the biosphere. Next, we have the hydrosphere. The hydrosphere is all water on Earth. Earth looks blue. It's called the blue planet, so the hydrosphere is a pretty large sphere. It covers 3/4 of the Earth's surface, but it's not only those blue oceans you see. It's also lakes, ice caps, groundwater, and any other type of water, including the clouds in the atmosphere. Geosphere, such as geology, which is the study of the Earth and rocks, tells us that the geosphere is the rocky upper layer of the Earth. So this will include rocks, mountains, and dirt, anything that is land related. Next, we have the atmosphere. The atmosphere is a thin layer of gas that surrounds the Earth. This is what we're able to breathe, and this is what allows life to exist. Lightning, storms, and clouds are also in the atmosphere. Then finally, probably the trickiest one to think about and to see is the magnetosphere. So the magnetosphere starts with magnet, and that's what tells us it's the magnetic field that surrounds the Earth. The magnetosphere is created by the liquid metal outer core, and we see evidence of it if you've ever heard of the Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis. Our next major concept is latitude and longitude. So just as a reminder, latitude are the flat lines that run parallel to the equator and to each other. They never cross each other, and you can kind of think of them as rungs of the ladder that you can use to climb north and south, up and down the globe. So it's always going to be at degrees north or south of the equator, with the equator being 0 degrees latitude. Latitude and longitude are found in a coordinate pair, and latitude, it also comes first in the alphabet, which is a good way to remember it, comes first in a coordinate pair. So next we have longitude. So this globe shows latitude and longitude. So the longitude are these lines right here that run north and south from the North Pole all the way up to the South Pole. So these ones right here. So longitude is different because they all meet at the top and the bottom of the Earth, whereas latitude is the latitude lines are never going to meet. The middle longitude line at 0 degrees that I'm tracing right here is the prime meridian. It runs from the North Pole to the South Pole, and on its way, it passes through Greenwich, England, down through Africa, and all the way down to the South Pole through the ocean. So latitude is measuring degrees east and west of the prime meridian. So you can go this way to go east, and you would go this way to go west. So they come second in the coordinate pair. And we're going to do some examples of these in the flipped follow-up of how to find latitude and longitude. Just one more review. The lines of latitude are horizontal and parallel, and they describe north and south of the equator, whereas longitude lines are vertical and describe the positions east and west of a prime meridian. So just to do one example here, and we're going to do lots of other examples in the flipped follow-up. If you're using this, what city is at 32 degrees north, 122 degrees east? So here we see 30 degrees north and 35. So I could estimate 32 is about here. So I'm seeing it looks like Shanghai might be the answer. but then we need to double check. So 122 degrees east. So here's 120, here's 125. If I draw a line up through it, I find that my lines cross right at Shanghai. So the answer would be D, that Shanghai is at 32 degrees north, 122 degrees east. And again, in the flipped follow-up, we'll do lots more examples like this. So next we have weathering, erosion, and deposition as our next major concept. So these three processes go together, and they actually, one way I remember what order they go in is they spell the word wed, W-E-D. So first in these three processes, weathering breaks down rocks into smaller pieces. So if you think of a big rock getting broken down by wind, water, rain, ice, plants, animals. So then once the rock has broken down, R-E, erosion can happen. So erosion is actually the moving of those tiny broken bits of rock and soil across the Earth's surface by many of the same forces that we just talked about with weathering. So the same forces are going to break down the rock and then move it. And then we have our D, deposition. So the base for deposition is the word deposit, which means to set down, or if you deposit something in the bank, you're putting it there. So deposition is the setting down or the putting down of bits of rock and soil in a new location. So these frequently go in this order: weathering, breaking down first, erosion comes second, and it moves the rock, and deposition is that rock being set down in a new place. All right, so then we have soil. So soil is made of two major parts. First, we have inorganic, which means it is non-living. And the non-living part of the soil comes from what we just talked about: weathering, breaking down rocks into minerals, and finally into fine, tiny little pieces. So that forms the inorganic or non-living part of the soil. Then we have the organic portion of the soil. So organic means it's living. So the organic portion of the soil is when dead plants die and decay. And this adds a lot of nutrients to the soil because these plants have been storing nutrients in their leaves and stems their whole life. So the organic portion is really important because we need those nutrients to die and decay into the soil. So these two things, both of these things must happen for soil to form. You need an inorganic portion, the non-living, the weathering to break the rocks into minerals, and you also need the organic portion, those plants to decay and die. All right, so that was a highlight of the major concepts from the unit. So your next steps will be to look for the flipped follow-up in your Class Connect schedule. As I said, in this flipped follow-up, we'll play some fun review games to get ready for the unit test. And if you would like help studying for the test or you have any other questions, please attend a Help Lab session for extra support. As always, I hope you have fun learning and have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.